My husband, Gabriel Buckner, and I had been married for 3 years. I'd gotten pregnant twice, but I'd lost both babies. It was all because of my in-laws' parrot that could talk. The first time I got pregnant and went to their house, the parrot stared at my belly and kept repeating, "Get rid of the baby, get rid of the baby." The second time, the same thing happened. It looked right at my stomach and said the same words. I thought it was just nonsense, but to my shock, my in-laws actually took the parrot seriously and forced me to end the pregnancy. I even showed them the prenatal checkup report from my doctor to prove that the baby was perfectly healthy and begged them not to do it, but they dragged me to the hospital anyway and made me have an abortion on the spot. When I got pregnant a third time, I wanted to be extra cautious. I went straight for an amniocentesis. The report confirmed the baby was healthy and even showed a 99.9% DNA match with Gabriel's. I thought everything would be fine this time, but as soon as the parrot saw me again, it repeated the same words, "Get rid of the baby," and just like before, the Buckners immediately tried to drag me to the hospital. I couldn't understand it. The baby was perfectly healthy and the DNA report proved it was Gabriel's child, so why would they rather believe a parrot and insist that I get rid of the baby? You can't keep this baby. You're going to the hospital to get rid of it. We've already scheduled the procedure. You're coming with us right now. My father-in-law, Marvin Buckner, and mother-in-law, Georgia Sutton, each grabbed an arm and started dragging me toward the door. Meanwhile, the parrot in the living room kept squawking, "Get rid of the baby, get rid of the baby." Terrified, I clung to the armrest of the couch with all my strength. "No, I won't do it. The baby is healthy. Why are you forcing me to get an abortion?" I begged them for an explanation, but they refused to give me one. When I wouldn't let go, Marvin pried at my fingers and scolded me harshly. "You're our daughter-in-law. Stop with the nonsense. If we tell you to get rid of the baby, you have to get rid of the baby." As he pried off my last finger, my fear turned into unbearable anguish. I broke down completely, screaming through my tears, "The baby is healthy and the report makes it clear that this baby carries the Buckner family's blood. So why on earth would you rather believe a parrot's nonsense and force me to get rid of my own baby over and over again?" This was my third pregnancy. The first time I was only 5 weeks along when they heard the parrot say, "Get rid of the baby." They then dragged me straight to the hospital for an abortion, without a single word of explanation. The second time I was a month along, they listened to that parrot again and forced me to get an abortion that very same day. Even then, they didn't bother explaining anything. I resisted both times. During the second time, I even showed them the prenatal report proving that the baby was developing normally, but they didn't even bother to look. This time I waited until I was 3 months along. Then I underwent an amniocentesis and a full series of tests. Everything proved beyond doubt that the baby was healthy and that its DNA matched my husband, Gabriel Buckner's. Only then did I tell Marvin and Georgia, yet their reaction was the same. They insisted that I terminate the pregnancy no matter what. The thought of losing this baby filled me with rage and despair. Was my third baby destined to be taken from me as well? Instead of answering my pleas, they kept dragging me toward the door. I wasn't strong enough to resist. In the end, they forced me outside. While we waited for the elevator, I begged them desperately, "Please, I'm begging you. This baby is innocent. You can't take its life away. That parrot is just an animal. Stop listening to it. Please, let me keep this baby." But even as I cried and dropped to my knees, they didn't waver. Georgia looked down at me coldly. "You've already gotten rid of two. Why don't you get it? This one is going too." Just as I was about to resign myself to losing my baby again, the elevator door slid open, and standing inside were none other than my parents, James Walsh and Avery Matthews. At that moment, I felt a flicker of hope. I tore myself free from Marvin and Georgia and stumbled toward my parents. Grabbing their hands, I choked out, "Mom, Dad, please save me." The sight of my tear-streaked face clearly shocked them. They frowned as they sized me up. "Evelyn, what happened to you? Didn't you call us saying that you have good news? Why do you look like this?" I called them earlier and asked them to come over. After being forced to abort 2 babies, I didn't dare take any chances this time, so I reached out to Mom and Dad for help, and thankfully they really came. With them here, I finally found my courage. I sobbed, trembling, "Mom, Dad, Marvin and Georgia are bullying me." My parents' faces darkened with anger. Mom snapped, "Marvin, Georgia, my daughter married into your family as your daughter-in-law, not a punching bag." Dad added, "You owe us an explanation today. We won't just let this slide." Marvin and Georgia glanced at them but didn't bother to argue. They simply led everyone back into the living room. Then Marvin spoke up, "Evelyn's pregnancy isn't viable. The baby has to go." The moment I heard those words, a wave of dread rose inside me. I was about to beg Mom and Dad to take me home when the parrot piped up again. It stared straight at my stomach, chanting non-stop, "Get rid of the baby, get rid of the baby." It was just one sentence, but my parents' expressions shifted. They exchanged a look with Marvin and Georgia, as though they'd reached some sort of silent agreement. The next moment, Mom and Dad turned to me with grim faces. "Evelyn, you have to terminate this pregnancy. Be good. Go to the hospital with Marvin and Georgia." Their words hit me like a slap. I never would have imagined that Mom and Dad would be just as absurd as Georgia and Marvin. They were blindly believing the parrot's words and forcing me to get rid of the baby too. Hearing it from them hurt more than anything. My eyes widened in disbelief as I shouted, "How can you listen to a parrot? This is your grandbaby we're talking about. What year is it? How can you trust a bird over a doctor's report?" I snatched the papers scattered on the floor and shoved them at Mom and Dad, begging them to look, but they shook me off, scolding me as if I was the one being unreasonable. "We said you can't keep this baby. Stop causing trouble. Do as you're told and abort it." Meanwhile, the parrot squawked even louder, driving me mad. My eyes turned red as I glared at it. "It's you and your nonsense. You're the one who deserves to die." I lunged for the parrot, ready to wring its neck, but Mom and Dad grabbed me roughly, holding me back. Mom slapped me across the face and Dad dug his fingers into my arm. Both of them shouted in unison, "Evelyn, stop disgracing us. Go to the hospital and get rid of that baby." As I watched Mom and Dad lay their hands on me, a cold emptiness spread through my chest. I hid the first 2 forced abortions from them because I didn't want them to worry or fight with Marvin and Georgia, so I shouldered the grief alone. This time I finally reached out, hoping they would stand by me and protect me, but I was wrong. They were siding with Georgia and Marvin and pressuring me to give up my baby. Clutching my belly, I sobbed, my tears dripping onto the floor. No one was on my side. I was completely alone. I spotted the front door wide open and tried to run, but Georgia and Marvin moved quickly and blocked my path. Seeing me resist again and again, they lost all patience. Marvin tied me up with a rope, while Georgia came back from the kitchen holding an abortion pill. My blood ran cold. I scrambled backward, crying, "Georgia, please. For the sake of all these years I've spent serving this family, please let this baby live. If you let me keep him, I'll do anything you want. He's only 3 months old. He's done nothing wrong, please give him a chance to live. I even turned to mom and dad and pleaded through tears, Mom, Dad, please help me. I've already lost 2 babies. I can't lose another. I'm your daughter. Don't just stand there while I suffer like this. I cried until my throat ached. I tried everything I could, but not a single one of them showed me an ounce of pity. Their eyes were cold, filled only with determination to destroy the life inside me, before forcing me to take the abortion pill. Georgia, said Evelyn, if the parrot said that this baby can't stay, it means it can't stay. Don't blame us. It just isn't meant to be. Marvin nodded. You can always have another one. Losing this baby is no big deal. Their words were cruel and dismissive. Mom and dad stayed silent, but their silence was enough to show that they agreed, and I was left broken, drowning in pain and despair. The memory of my first 2 babies being ripped away from me came crashing back, every moment as raw as the day it happened. Georgia pried my mouth open and forced the abortion pill down my throat. I choked and coughed before I suddenly heard a furious voice. What the heck are you doing to Evelyn? I looked up and met Gabriel's stunned eyes. The moment I saw him, my tears fell even harder. Honey, please, save our baby. He rushed over, shoved Marvin and Georgia aside, and untied me before pulling me into his arms. Seeing me cry so desperately, his eyes grew red. He stroked my back and whispered soothingly, it's okay, Evelyn, don't be afraid. I'm here now. Now that I finally had someone to lean on, I broke down and sobbed uncontrollably. Gabriel loved me. He always treated me with care and never let me suffer even the slightest grievance. He often traveled for weeks at a time, but he would hire multiple housekeepers to make sure I was well cared for. He was only back now because I'd called him. Once I quieted a little, he looked at Marvin, Georgia, Mom, and Dad, fury blazing in his eyes. Mom, Dad, Evelyn is your daughter-in-law. How could you treat her this way? Didn't you promise you would treat her like your own daughter then? He turned to Mom and